And then I'll share. All right. So you can all see the PowerPoint slide?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. So hello, everyone. I'm Joe Anastasi, Program Manager for the Member Services Group team for the chapter, and welcome to our annual State of the Chapter meeting. We look forward to sharing our past and future plans, and welcome any feedback or questions. All right, so we completed our networking. We're going to go through some announcements. We will go through the highlights of our accomplishments in 2021. Laura will take us through a financial review of 2021. Todd will take us through the strategy and vision for this year, and I'll do the wrap up at the end. We appreciate if you can use the chat for any questions. Folks like Andy and others will be looking in the chat room, and where it makes sense, whether it's at the end of a slide or at certain breaks, we will prompt for any questions in the chat room. Otherwise, if you can mute, that'd be great. We are going to use a tool called Menometer to make this a little bit more interactive. Colin did a great job in creating this presentation in Menometer. So what I'd like you to do, if you have the ability to open up another tab, a browser tab on your computer, your phone, or your tablet, and go to menti.com, and then type in this code number when you go to menti.com. And then we're going to have our first question here in a second. Andy, or if someone could copy and paste that number, or type that into the chat in case folks need it or want a quick way to get to it, that'd be great.
I got it.
All right, so everyone ready? menti.com. And this will be the question. I will take it over and hand it to Colleen. Colleen?
Hey, everybody. My name is Colleen Zettler. I am on the governance board. I've been with the chapter 6, 7, 8 years. And we have a first question is, we are in the middle of updating our website. And the question is, for the splash front page, here are our 3 options for the picture for our banner. We have the picture of the Cleveland skyline at sunset. We have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and we have the Guardian. Please select which one you would like. You believe should be. And let's see, how do I, press S to show image. No, that didn't do it. So how do I show, how do I go back? Oh, Joe, this isn't working.
Yeah, I'm in as a registrant. Do you want to share your screen?
I can do that. Hold
Do
on.
you see the answers on yours though, right?
I do. Hold on. Present. Go.
Yeah, the only other option, Joe, would be for you to log in as the Menti host as
Yeah, and I
well.
can do
Then
the
we'd be able to see
presentation.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's not showing it. Oh, sorry, guys. I thought we'd figured this out.
We did in our dry run last week.
We did, but we didn't do the slides.
Let me
Oh, well.
I apologize. I think we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to figure this out while someone else is talking, and I will come back to you with the answers.
Oh,
I don't have this answer. So, yep. All right. We'll go on.
okay, let me see if I can get over there real quick, and then we'll go on. By the way, this Menometer tool is awesome, and we will soon have a Tech Thursday webinar to show you all how to use this thing. It's pretty cool.
All right, you want to go to the
There we
next
go.
slide? It's lost. It showed me the results and then I clicked out of it. So I think that it's gone on to the
Oh,
next one.
okay. Do we want people to revote?
I don't know if I know how to reset it.
Well, I'm in it now. I think
The
I'm in
vote should
present
still
mode.
be there.
Oh, reset results?
Yes.
Reset results. Okay, try again.
$18 votes.
I think you have to be in
19 votes.
present mode. Are you?
I am.
See, so I'm not know why it's not showing the results.
I think I got in there before you. But we'll see.
So Joe, you're having, everybody's revoting, right? And
Yeah.
that's,
Yes.
Yeah. okay.
But it's still not
Andy, is there
showing.
any questions in the chat? I see 3 bubbles. Anything, or people just offering advice or sympathy?
Just our postings about Menti. That's it.
And I can't present because you are, so it's not showing me the results. I mean,
All right,
I can pull the results afterwards, but why don't you get out of it and I'll.
Yeah, let me see if I can show it. So here we go.
That's the next one.
It didn't show me the. That is weird. Why is it not showing me the answers?
I know.
Okay, we'll move on and
Yeah.
Yep.
okay.
Well, yeah, when we send out the recap of the meeting, we'll have to publish the results as part of it, so everybody can see the results.
Or maybe at the tail end we can go through if Colleen
If
can
the-
see the answers and
Yeah, if we have time.
if we have time. Sure.
Okay. Moving on.
All right. So our chapter organization. So we are welcoming Ramya as our new director at large. She's been our VP of volunteering, so she's joined the governance board this year. And so welcome. And then Laura Hoffman is now moved into the treasurer role. Congratulations, Laura and Ramya.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Everyone is still the same, working hard. And from a governance board perspective, again, we have a 5-member governance board. We have elections every year. In even numbered years, we vote for even numbered people. And then in odd number years, we vote for odd numbered people. So this year we'll be having elections later this year. Ben Todd has the operations group with finance and elections. Dominic has membership, sponsors and student organization, academic outreach. And then I have marketing, programs and events, and professional development. And then within each of the op board areas, we have VPs and directors that do the important volunteer work to make things happen for us. All right. So we're going to do Menti again. So if you can go back to the, oh, actually, I need to do that, right? Oh, actually, here's the answers for the
Oh,
last
yeah.
thing. It took a while. Okay, so before you can
That-
vote, looks like Skyline Chili is the, I'm just kidding. The Skyline is the top
winner.
with Rock Hall and Guardian. Not a lot
Coming
of
to a
Guardian
website
fans
to
out
you.
there. All right. So the next question, or the next question.
Mm-mm.
Why is it not going to the next? Okay.
Oh, am I on it?
Are you now are you in present mode?
No. Try again. Going to the next one.
I'm going to escape and
Oh, man, I'm not kidding. We tested this, kids. This is
Good.
all
Yeah.
right.
there.
So, oh yeah, we got some votes in before. So what city are you calling in from? Is everyone able to vote? Go ahead. Got 16, 18. Mentimeter is a good tool. It's just me. So don't blame the technology, blame me. We got 26 votes.
If it's bigger, does that mean more people are from that?
That's exactly right. Who else is from Lakewood here?
Marie Morbido's from Lakewood.
Hey, Marie, we're getting together.
Oh, yay.
We're meeting for coffee.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I'm the oddball that wrote Old Brooklyn.
Oh, Kayla's from Lakewood too.
Sweet.
Who's that from Old
Congratulations,
Brooklyn?
party.
I'm also in Lakewood.
Oh man, that's it. Who just said that?
That was Alan,
Alan, we're getting together.
Ellen,
the newbie.
Ellen, I'm
getting
I'm a newbie too, Marie.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Who is from Akron? Who else?
Karen.
Yeah, Karen.
I put Akron. I'm Fair Law and Akron, pretty much the same thing, right on the border.
I'm
Awesome.
actually in Copley, but I put Akron just because I didn't think anyone would know what Copley was.
Yeah, I'm from Green, so I put Akron. So I think we're close enough. So we should get an opportunity to meet as well.
Shout out to-
Absolutely. That's a
to
good
the old-
idea, Jag.
Yeah, awesome. Let's get together.
I put Cleveland, but I'm actually in Old Brooklyn. So whoever Old Brooklyn was.
That's me, Mike Doherty.
Hey, Mike, Jim Hoy.
Hey. Wow,
You guys
live
know
with me.
Aldo's restaurant up there?
Yeah, on Ridge, right?
Yeah,
Or Memphis or Ridge.
my
one of-
aunt's family, they're from Italy. The
Yeah.
family that runs it is from Italy, and it's my
Yeah.
aunt's family. They're really nice people.
My wife is Italian, and her aunt and uncle, we went there with them probably 12 years ago, but it was very authentic, very good.
I highly recommend it.
I agree. It's good.
Small setting, very
Yeah,
small, but
very small.
good.
Yeah.
What part of Old Brooklyn are you in, Jim?
Over on Hillcrest off of State, across
Oh.
from Bidoff in St. Mary's. How about you?
I'm in what they call South Hills.
Oh yeah. Okay. We're bumped up against the cemetery. We're
Oh,
at the
okay.
end of our street, it dead ends of the cemetery, and then you kind of dogleg around to get to the South Hills part off Broadview. So we're
Yeah.
like right in the middle. Yeah,
Right. I know where that is. Yeah.
yeah,
Small world.
it is. Yeah.
Well, great. Well, thanks everyone for participating there. You found new neighbors. That's cool. All right. Next up, we're going to do a recap of 2021. Again, here's our ops board, Ben, myself, and Dominic. Ben couldn't be with us this evening, so Dominic will be presenting his update. Dominic?
Excellent. Hey, Joe, we didn't skip a sponsor slide, did we?
I downloaded the latest.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so here is Ben's update. Couldn't be with us today because he had a conflict, but he wants to make sure he thanks his team members from 2021, and of course the team members that are going into 2022 with him. Both Rose, Tran, and Alona Chrisman of the finance team. The finance responsibilities transferred last year from Rose to Alona, and that went very successful. They closed out 2021, have added the 2022 budget to QuickBooks, which is working out well for us. He also wanted to thank the volunteering team, as well as those that are on the volunteering bench, ready to jump in. So if you're not on the volunteer bench or you are on the volunteer bench, we appreciate that. People willing to jump in and work where necessary. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Ramya Ramaduri was our volunteer lead last year. She, as you saw in an earlier slide, has transitioned to the governance board. So she has grown in her responsibility with the chapter. We appreciate that. So the new volunteer lead is Steve Liederman, and there is a slide later on that will discuss the ways that you can volunteer with us, as I mentioned. And then we also want to thank Wendy. Wendy made sure that our elections run smoothly every year. Sort of she's an unsung hero. She did another great job last year. So remember that nominations are coming up, as Joe mentioned, that we'll be voting for 2 members of our governance board. And those elections usually take place around September. So maybe give it some thought if you're interested in being part of that. And we also track all these activities that we do and the initiatives that we'll be talking about. And so Ben wanted to thank Karen Babcock and Regina for their work on simplifying what the board and the program managers have to look at to see how we're doing if we're meeting our goals. And those are just a few of the accomplishments that Ben wanted to highlight that keep the chapter moving forward. This year, the operations silo is working on documentation, standards, and compliance. So if it's something that excites you, raise your hand, and Ben's team will certainly put you to work.
Okay, thank you, Dominic.
Sure.
Just to clarify, Steve Litterer is the new head of volunteers. Steve Peterson is the head, is marketing.
Did I say Peterson?
You did. You said Peterman.
I think I said Litterer. So it's Litterer.
I didn't hear it. Okay, doesn't matter.
All right, that's okay. Thank you, though. I appreciate that. So it's Litterer. So Steve, if you're on the call, I apologize. But Steve, I have not met Steve yet, so I'm looking forward to that. Oh, and this is me. So real quick, because part of what you see here is sponsorship. We do want to thank Apex Systems, who is one of our chapter sponsors for this year. And I had actually talked to Apex, and I'd asked him to share a success story with us real quick. And so I don't know if you're familiar with Apex, but they've had some great success last year with defining and implementing a future state PMO for a client. It was a Fortune 500 gas and electric utility. So their team, the Apex team, collaborated with the client to frame what this future PMO model is going to look like, and they successfully established this future state. They provided the tools, recommendations, and then created the roadmap. So that's a great story from Apex, and we appreciate them continuing on as an ongoing chapter sponsor. So that's one of my areas here. And there's probably, I'll just tell you, I broke this down more so than it needed to. But Jag, who's on this call, who we met, he's our VP of membership, and some of these things really fall under his what he does. But I broke them out for the purpose of this meeting because I wanted to highlight just some of the things that are happening on the outreach side, including the industry liaison initiative that we're working on, and Burke is helping out with that, where if you are a part of an organization that has lots of project managers, we would like your help in leveraging your internal communications to share the good news of PMI and PMI Northeast Ohio chapter. So we are looking for liaisons in these large companies that can take our message and help spread it to other project managers in your organization so they get the benefit of being part of the chapter as well. So that's one initiative we're working on. Another is the professional links. We want to build a better and stronger relationship with associations that are in related fields and disciplines, so they can be more than just links on our website. So there are times when some of our programming overlaps with things of interest to them, and some of their programming will overlap with things that are of interest to our members. So we are more actively engaging with these organizations, and so that's part of our professional links initiative. And then I also wanted to mention on the academic side, the student programming, pandemic or no pandemic, Jay and his gang have been reaching out to students via Zoom. They can't do some in-classroom stuff, but they have been active. And I know we'll hear more about some, that group is also looking at PMI's PM Social Good Initiative. So there'll be some community involvement, some social outreach coming out of that group, and you'll hear more about that pretty soon. I just want to highlight one little thing on the membership side slide in that column. I don't want to call it scientific or official, but for those of you that attended the annual planning meeting in September, ahead of that meeting, we did reach out to current members. Maybe you got a survey, reach out to current members, new members, and we reached out to members that have left the chapter in the last 2 years. And we wanted to know, what was driving their leaving, their departure, and thinking maybe the pandemic or stuff like that. And what we've overwhelmingly heard from those that are no longer members was they retired, they moved on in their careers, or they're on to something else. And so we feel that I know Todd's going to talk about this. We didn't lose more members. We just need to do a better job of gaining those members that would normally join, but the pandemic sort of held that back. So lots of good things, and that's what we're going to work on the membership side this year as well. So that's it on the outreach slide. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Dominic. Is there any questions in the chat, Andy?
Yeah.
There
Okay,
are
just
not.
Okay.
I saw C. Wilson. I'm going to write this down, and as far as a liaison, we got you.
At the clinic, yes.
Yeah,
Great. Well, thank you, Dominic. Appreciate it.
sure.
All right. So member services. So we have professional development, marketing, and programs, and very fortunate to have some really good VPs and directors and volunteers in these areas. From a professional development perspective, Baldwin Wallace is our professional development partner of choice. Fortunately for us, we are going to, I know the last couple of years we've been doing all virtual meetings over Zoom, which is great, convenient, but it also doesn't, for those of us that like to get together in person, we kind of miss those days. We plan to have, and we're going to talk about a little bit, a couple of events at BW this year. We have renewed our relationship with Velocity to offer discounts to members. So Velocity offers training on PMP, CAPM, and Agile certs. We had started a new relationship last year with Peak Business to offer discounts on certification courses. They also provide certification courses on Agile, PMP. Both are really good partners. And both offer really good discounts to our members. There's a proposal to start up some certification meetup meetings. So we're not going to resume the study group that we had years ago, but we do want to have, we'll call them meetups. So people are thinking about taking their CAPM exam, their ACP, the PMP. The chapter could sponsor, coffee and bagels, get people together to talk to each other, share ideas, share study materials and ideas. But what we really want to do is see those folks continue their get-togethers with each other to form a study group. Now, whether we do that virtually or in person, I know it's hard to do coffee virtually, but we'll have to see. If anybody's interested or they are pursuing a certification and wants to help start up one of these meetups, you can contact me, and we'll have some, actually you'll have my email this weekend when I email out these slides. So, but please contact me, and love to get you started on that. Our marketing team continues to do a great job. We have that chapter newsletter once a month. We have the chapter pulse weekly email, just reminding folks what our upcoming events are. We've added tools for member engagement. One of the things we'll talk about later is how do we take that to the next level, but we've been very successful in pushing information out to our members via this tool called Content Studio, but it's basically to Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter, and then using tools like Zoom and Menometer for conducting these kind of meetings. We're got strong social media presence, especially pushing out events, volunteer opportunities, member spotlights. Some of you were spotlighted last year as key members, and that's been great. From a programs perspective, We are continuing to offer monthly virtual events throughout the year. This past year, we had a virtual PDD and a virtual International Project Management Day. Good news this year, fingers crossed, we are going to have an in-person Professional Development Day in May and an in-person Professional Development Day, International Project Management Day in November, and hopefully some in-person programming late the latter half of this year. So hopefully to get people together. We'll continue those monthly Tech Thursday webinars via Zoom. And we're going to continue our strategy and leadership series. So we're trying, for those of you with the certification and have that talent triangle where you have to get so many business, so many strategy, so many leadership, so many technical, we are trying to give you all opportunities to get PDUs in all those areas. One of the things that's kind of in between the marketing programs role, a lot of our events are recorded and hosted up on YouTube, and we send those links out to the folks that have participated so they can share it with their friends. And it's a good way to watch something again if you missed it the first time or you missed parts of it the first time. Any questions in the chat?
Yes, there is a question. Is there an existing dedicated social or dedicated chapter social page?
So we have accounts on Facebook. We have a page and group on Facebook. I think we've moved to just one of those. We have an official Twitter handle. We have an official Instagram handle, and we have a LinkedIn group. If you go to our website, well, you don't have to do W's, PMINEO.org, up at the top section, there's a link to all our social media sites. And you can click on those, you can join, follow, whatever the right protocol is for those different groups are.
Hey,
So
Joe,
we're
can I
on
jump
4 or
in?
5.
Can I jump in for a second?
Sure.
Yeah, one of the things that we're talking about social media, that one of the things that came out of a recent meeting that actually has now been passed on to the membership and social team is maybe a social event built around how do we use these social tools and leverage our PMINEO social media platforms for our own purposes. So look forward to that. That's something that I think I'm pretty sure is going to happen, right? Hey, Jake?
That is correct. Yeah, we will.
Yeah, it'll be a fun one. Look for it.
Yep.
Hey, real quick, Joel, were you asking about our social media, or were you asking if on our website there is a page dedicated just to social gatherings?
Not so much for the social gatherings, but just where the promotions were occurring for the events and where the stronger presence was. So if it's heavily shifted on Facebook or Twitter or TikTok or whatever, what that looks like and the best place to actually go to see these events or other things.
We provide equal treatment across the 4 main social media platforms. Colleen, you looked at the, I don't want to put you on the spot. You looked at the stats last, where I thought
Facebook, I
Facebook
feel,
our strongest.
and LinkedIn. Facebook and LinkedIn are the heaviest used.
But I wouldn't, if you happen to be a Twitter person, like you don't care for the others, you're going to get the same, I mean, it's in Twitter format, of course, right? You'll get the same kind of content and frequency as the other. So this tool called Content Studio allows you to design and create the content and then push it out to the various things almost simultaneously.
Okay, so almost like a Hootsuite type deal.
Absolutely, it's a competitor Hootsuite.
Gotcha.
And also it's similar to, we send stuff out via the newsletter, right? So if you're on one or more of those, you should be getting ample communication from us. What Dominic and Jags are going to work on is how do we get that push and pull? So we're really good at pushing stuff out. We're not getting a lot of back atches, right? So we want people to share, like, promote our stuff, right? Not just us pushing out. I know we're all busy, but we want to get that bi-directional engagement.
Hey, you know what? I'm wrong. It's Instagram and LinkedIn Our top two.
Oh, that's changed actually, Colleen. I'm glad you brought that up. Facebook was our biggie for a while, but Instagram is now kind of getting stronger there.
And what did you say the system was that you push all of them out on? I haven't heard of that one
It's
before.
called Content Studio.
Content Studio. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we like it because there isn't a subscription.
Ah.
And it works just as well with Hootsuite, my opinion. Any other questions out there in the chat?
No.
Not at this time.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. Financials. I'm going to hand it over to Laura Hoffman.
All right, so rather than supply you with an eye chart, we went ahead and summarized things for you. So the chapter brought in about 39,000, in income. Most of that comes from membership. So we do want to thank you for those of you who become members of the chapter. We really do appreciate that. That's how we fund all of these events and things that we do. The other part of that does come from sponsorship. So yeah, we do have some sponsors that we get funding from, but like I said, most of it comes right from our members. And then you know, a big part of kind of a new thing that changed with COVID is that we really relied on our web hosting. So we do have a chapter account for Zoom, and so we wanted to make sure that we were able to provide a quality web platform for you, so that that's very important for the chapter to be able to continue to reach out to you. We'll of course never, once we can meet in person, we will always have we'll do that, but we'll always have a web element. We know that some of you, that's just that, depending on where you live, that's just the best way to be a part of the chapter. So the web won't go away after COVID goes away, but we'll continue to keep that up. And another big part of what we spend on is our programming, particularly the speakers. So for International Project Management Day and for the Professional Development Day, we do try to bring in quality speakers, and they of course have fees with that. Our chapter meetings, a lot of times we get volunteer speakers, but for those larger events, we want to make sure that we bring some more well-known speakers, professional speakers to you. And I do want to touch on, generally speaking, when the chapter tries to budget for the year, we try and spend most, if not all, of our income. And the reason we do that is we want to make sure that our members get the benefit of their membership fees. So we do usually try and spend all the money, and we try to spend it all on you. But I did want to mention we do have a surplus this year, that being PMI Global offered to help out the chapters. They knew that chapters across the country were struggling, and they knew web hosting was a big part to keep in connection with members. So they did offer chapters a way to recoup their costs for web hosting services. So that's why you're seeing that large surplus of 8,500. Is that part of that was really what we got from PMI Global, and of course we can turn around and spend that on our members next year. So if you do have questions, please, if you ever wanted to see the details of how we've been spending our money, we can certainly talk to you and answer any questions that you may have. I'll stop here. Are there any questions in the chat?
Maybe I should have asked earlier with Joe, how many members are there? How many paying members?
Oh, great trivia question.
We're at
Go ahead.
1,000. Yeah, we're at 1,280 as of last night.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't realize it was that high.
Yeah, we actually peaked just shy of 1,600 3 years ago, and we've lost about 300 due to COVID and other things, as Dominic kind of alluded to earlier. So, we're at the point now, but we've stabilized, and we're going to start rebuilding.
And rebuild seems to be happening, Joe. We started with 12 under 60s, so we're at 80.
Yep. So it'll
And
take a
it really
while.
helps. Yeah, it will take a while, but it, does help me. And we're glad to see that we've had some new people join us who haven't joined us before.
Yep,
So that's
absolutely.
always a good sign. So I think we can continue.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And now for the 2022 budget. So this is a multi-click thing, right, Laura? No, never mind.
No, it is not. So, so one of the things, a lot of what we're going to spend for next year is, unfortunately, there was a miscommunication here. So this did not get filled in, and I apologize for that. But what we're looking forward to next year, like the ops board alluded to, is that we're hoping to bring back in-person events at least, in the latter half of the year. And so again, looking forward to having Professional Development Day again, hopefully in person. And hopefully we're going to bring, or we will have International Project Management Day. My understanding is we're partnering up with Baldwin Wallace University for that. And again, we're looking to have that in person. We're fortunate that Baldwin Wallace supplies the facility, and then where we can, we'll have be bringing back in person events. In addition, just to keeping the lights on, keeping the chapter run. Said a big part of that is the Zoom account. So that that's where your money is going. The idea is that we want to spend most of it on you. Things like the Ducks game, we'll want to provide those social events, the golf outing, things of that nature. When we have maybe, I know we've had meetups that we've done that. And just those different things to give you the opportunity to see each other in person and for us to see you. So I know, Todd, you're going to talk about some of the other future things coming up for 2022, but is there something that you wanted to touch on in particular?
No, there's nothing right now. I think let's keep moving. We're probably about 10 to 15 minutes behind schedule right now. So.
All right, so we have another Menti poll. Let's do this quickly. So I'm sharing my screen, right?
Yes.
All right, go ahead and start your votes.
Sure, now it's working like gangbusters.
My laptop is giving me a low memory thing, so of course.
Yes, it is.
It's got Menometer and Zoom and
As long as it's not
PowerPoint.
as long as it's not low battery, Joe.
Yeah, nope, I'm double plugged in. But I don't have the radiator coolant on this laptop. This is a normal, regular laptop.
That's exciting though. Nearly 2/3 of us are ready to get back together in person. Good.
I'm with the truckers.
Yeah.
All right, I think
Move
we're
on.
good, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we hand it over to Todd Jones, our chapter president.
All right. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, everyone. Like I said, we're running a few minutes behind, so I'm gonna kind of go through this at a relatively fast pace, but do please feel free to interrupt me with questions through the chat if there's things that that we need to dive a little deeper on. I'm going to kind of hit this at two levels, going to talk at kind of the global PMI level and then bring it down to the chapter level for the second half. So hopefully most of you have heard of PMI 4.0, which is the current PMI strategy. And I'm going to hit a couple of slides from a recent presentation on the strategy, just to give everybody an overview, because I'm going to make the assumption you might have heard of it, but probably don't know a whole lot about it. So go ahead, next slide, Joe. That was the previous slide.
I don't know how that happened. Okay,
I don't know.
sorry.
That's all right. It's all good. So PMI's got a mission, as they should, and you know, being the leader in project management, their whole goal is to empower people to make ideas a reality. You know, looking at global trends, things that are dramatically reshaping the world. The landscape is different now than it was a couple of years ago, and PMI 4.0 is really a growth strategy to meet those new demands. Really, one of the key things is developing change makers. If you've heard of anything from PMI lately, it's probably that word, change makers. It's kind of the biggest word that PMI is using at this point. And the idea is to expand their reach, bring a larger community together to shape the future. And when I say larger, their goal is 10 times. They want to grow the PMI world by 10 times as part of this strategy. All right, next slide, Joe. I guess when you hear me pause a little bit, that's probably a good indicator. Good. So it's really, I'm going to hit kind of those couple of key statements: empowering people to make ideas a reality. PMI is uniquely positioned to do good across the world. It is the largest volunteer organization across the world today, and they only want to grow it and make it bigger. And the idea is to empower people, not just project managers, but change makers who are kind of an extension of project managers of all ages, to be able to leverage project management concepts, whether they know it's project management or not, to bring good across the world, large expanded social impact. And there's really three key objectives in that: to broaden the reach, extend our impact, and build lasting relationships. So broaden our reach, serving more people by extending our regional operations, building coalitions with other organizations, and welcoming new people into the fold. Extending our impact, helping the individual by giving new product offerings, new certifications, new micro credentials to empower people with the skills they need to make that new impact. And then building lasting relationships. And this isn't just relationships with PMI members. This is relationships with employers, as well as helping to strengthen relationships between employers and employees, and advocating on behalf of project managers within organizations. So yeah, I'm going to go a tiny bit deeper on each of the three of those. Broadening our reach. Obviously, there's project professionals, which all of us are in one form or another, and that's kind of the heart of the PMI community. And there's a ton of knowledge that group has. The new addition is really that role of change maker, and extending PMI to have a greater global impact by reaching out to individuals of all ages, professions, whether they're students, volunteers, entrepreneurs, specialists, business leaders, everyone, to empower them with the skills they need to make a larger impact on our organization, our community, and eventually the world. And that becomes that new PMI stakeholder universe. Extending our impact. This is Dominic's favorite slide, so I had to include it. But PMI believes that we've got a unique position that no other organization has to be able to equip individuals to bring about positive change in the world. And that's really at the crux of the PMI 4.0 strategy. And they're increasing their offerings. You probably see some things on here that maybe you've heard of, maybe you haven't. Things like Disciplined Agile, which is an extension. It's really a framework for implementation of Agile. There's things like Wicked Problem Solving, which is a framework for design thinking and collaborating and using that to problem solve. And then there's Citizen Developer, which is really a low-code, no-code opportunity for anyone to develop apps or code or things that can make the world a better place. So this chart is really, I really like this chart too, Dominic. It's not just you, I like it too, because it really has, whether you're entry level, mid-level, senior level, gives you kind of a guide of different either certifications or skills or areas maybe to focus to learn and grow your skill set more. On the PMI website, there's something called Career Navigator, and then you can go in there and actually customize it through a self-assessment to give you a personalized growth roadmap. I haven't done it yet, but looking forward to trying that out. And then
Okay,
the third, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if there's a question in the chat, or if you wanted me to move on.
I'm looking at the chat as I go, Joe. I don't see anything there.
Okay.
Good. And then lastly, building lasting relationships, the third leg of the strategy triangle, if you will. Really, again, and this goes to growing 10x, having 10x growth, is reaching out to all of these different areas. So students, looking at ways to give them project management life skills that will help them as they are maturing in their life. Young professionals who want to accelerate their career and providing skill sets and credentials and experiences and support for that. Senior executives that are in a different stage of their life where they're ready to turn around and provide consultation or guidance or mentoring, back to students and young professionals, as well as then other change makers who would never consider themselves project professionals, but are going to have ways now to leverage project management skills, whether they know it or not, to be able to help them do things better in whatever career or volunteer area or whatever they may be. And the hope is that a number of these individuals become sticky in the project management space and align with PMI long-term through this. Lastly, then, I want to talk just very briefly about the how. Obviously, on the bottom, you see kind of there's the PMI Institute, there's that set of change makers, and then the set of PM project management professionals on top of that. And really, there's 4 different areas to try and implement the strategy through. One is social impact. How can we as project management professionals and volunteers make our world a better place? And doing that and empowering change makers to do that as well. Expanding communities and targeting engagement. So leveraging not only the chapter structure that we have today, but how can we build that and strengthen that? I'm excited about that because I think there's additional resources that we as a chapter are going to have from PMI to be able to provide more benefit and value to you, as well as this new set of change makers that we want to bring in. Third, organizational advocacy or individual enablement. Again, this is really targeted at how can PMI and us help employers better understand the value of project management and the value that we as project management professionals or as change makers provide to the organization and why they would want to employ us as well. So good things there. And then lastly, coalition of associations, developing partnerships with other like-minded organizations that are also trying to make the world a better place, to help meet the needs of project managers, change makers, provide additional capabilities, additional resources to project managers to further their career and grow through our career life cycle. So again, not all of the details are ironed out from PMI on this, and every month or a couple of months we hear something new about it, but they introduced this about 6 months, a year ago. I don't remember when it was, but it's really starting to take some shape, and I think this is the year that PMI 4.0 strategy is really going to kind of take hold, and we're going to hear a lot more about it and how we can help implement it. So stay tuned for more on that. So that's kind of at a global level. So what about us at the local level on our chapter? I'm not going to drain these slides. I think we've seen these before, but you can read here along with what our mission and vision is. Really, we want to promote project management as the discipline and be the go-to place in Northeastern Ohio for people to get information about project management or to connect with project managers. what value do we provide to our members? I'm not going to read all these, but or the detail about all of them, but we provide events for training, for growth, for professional development. We provide great networking opportunities, such as the first 20 minutes, half an hour tonight, plus some of those social and networking events that we talked about. We provide opportunities for leadership skills and in our volunteers and by participating in the chapter. And then hopefully we're building a sense of project management community through doing all that. We provide value then to our volunteers as well. Becoming a volunteer gives you the opportunity to grow your skills and learn. There may be things that you need to develop to make you more marketable to your employer or to another employer, and we can provide opportunities for that through volunteering. You can earn PDUs through volunteering. We try and recognize our volunteers, sometimes better than others, but it's something that we know we've got to improve on. As well as, again, we have a community of volunteers that we're strengthening, and there's great relationships in our volunteer community as well. And then lastly, we have a set of outside stakeholders, next slide, that we provide value to. And again, employers, how can we help employers see the professional or help see the value of project management professionals? That kind of comes with some of what Dominic and his team is working on. Best practice sharing through our organization and across other organizations. And we've had some leadership forums and things where we do that. We give access to potential customers through our membership, and then we give access to potential employees, and some of that is with some of our sponsors and partnerships. So we feel we provide value across our members, our volunteers, and our stakeholders. All right, so survey question time. What can PMI do to help your employer recognize the value of being a chapter member? So Joe's going to open that up and go ahead and give us your quick vote on that, and we'll move on. What can we do to help your employer recognize the value of being a chapter member? Is this a type in? I can't remember, Colleen. Since we're not seeing any results, are we on the right slide?
We are.
There it is.
Oh, good. There we go. Perfect.
You had to say something, Todd. Then it
did.
showed up.
If I'd have known that, I said something sooner. Recognition certificate, good. PMI sends those out, but maybe we can do something as well for our chapter members. Good stuff. Seems like the common thread there is benefits. We really need to do a better job of highlighting the benefits of project management in our local area. Good stuff, recognition. I hear it. All right, thanks for your contributions there. Joe, you want to switch back to the presentation? And I know we'll capture everything that people submitted to Mentimeter, so we have that to look on, because I think there's some great feedback there. All right, so obviously we've had some ongoing challenges. COVID has a big one, was one that we highlighted last year and did some work around, but volunteer experience, I think I alluded to that, we want to make sure that we're doing a better job with the whole volunteer life cycle. Operational continuity, meaning for this is challenge to help our volunteer teams do the best, get the best use of our volunteers, as well as how can we improve our succession planning in our volunteer space. And this I would say we have improved on, but it's still, we have opportunity to do better. Member engagement and I think we hit on it. We were 1,600 member, or just under 1,600 members 3 years ago, and now we bottomed out around 1,260. We're back up to 1,280, and hopefully slowly growing. But how can we provide more value to members so people want to join our chapter and want to stay a member of our chapter? Career advancement, how can, obviously the training that we provide and some of the partnerships we have, like with Peak and Velociteach and Project Bytes and others, can help us with, providing some training and things. But are there other things, other things that we can do to contribute to the career advancement of you, our member, who are practicing project management in our area? All right, we recognize web and social media. I think we talked about that a little bit earlier around how can we better utilize social media tools, not only to get our word out and build our brand, but to engage the chapter. And that's going to, solve some of the other challenges in being, having better engagement and not just pushing information out, but getting engagement through social media platforms. Aligning to the PMI strategy, the 4.0 strategy we just talked about. PMI is really, over the last couple of years, has really transitioned, and we need to stay aligned to that and transition our organization as well. And again, building our brand. Does every employer in Northeast Ohio know about PMI PMI Northeast Ohio, and does every employer understand the value that project management can bring, and that the project managers in their organization bring to their team? And we want to make sure that we're part of that conversation and helping do that. All right, so time for another quick poll question. What's the best value that you get out of our chapter website? And we picked 5 areas. We'd love to hear where you feel you get the most value. We've never had a, oh good, phew, I was worried it was going to be unanimous. Our chapter is much more than a calendar of events. Calendar events is important because that's, I know, how we all learn about how to get to things like this and sign up. So I agree that is definitely important, but I'd love to see chapter info is important as well. So. Good. I would encourage anyone that if you have other ideas of how our chapter website could be valuable to you, if you would just post those in the chat, even as I'm continuing on to the next slide. We'd love to capture that information, because if there's things that we didn't put on here that you feel you do get value or would like to get value out of our website, please go ahead and put those in the chat as we're continuing on. All right, Joe.
Okay.
Good. I see a couple out there. Thank you. All right. So our new challenge is really this new normal that we're in, or next normal, or new next, or whatever words you want to use to describe what the rest of 2022 and beyond is going to be like. And what does this mean for us? Think questions that we're asking ourselves as chapter leaders is, how can we re-engage with our members, with our sponsors, with our stakeholders? We know where we were a couple of years ago. We know things have changed, and we know that the way we need to re-engage with people has changed, and we've got to learn through that and figure that out. And it's going to be really, really important for our members to tell us, actually all these groups, members, sponsors, stakeholders, to tell us along the way how we're doing or how we can do better at it. So it's something that we're going to be really engaging more in during this next season in how making sure that we're meeting members and sponsors and stakeholders where they're at. And part of that's understanding, how do our members want to engage with us? Is it in-person programming? Is it virtual programming? Is it via LinkedIn, via the website, via whatever? Is it social good exercises and doing things, doing less project management presentation type stuff and more, hey, let's get together and clean up a neighborhood park, or those types of things. What's the right balance? Those are all things that we know are going to be a challenge that we're going to have to figure out with your help. And then last not last on this short list is, what does hybrid delivery look like for programming? We know that we want to get in person. We know that not everybody's going to be comfortable getting in person. So how can we find that right balance? How can we deliver programming that does both at the same time, or programming that works really well in an in-person format that might not work well in a virtual format, or vice versa? So we want to really learn through that over the next few months, so that as we get into the second half of the year, we're doing exceptional at that. And again, learning from feedback as we hear. So good stuff. Thanks for the engagement in the chat. I love seeing the comments flow in and the questions flow in. The ... means there's more, and we don't know it all yet. And we're going to be continuing to learn it as we go. Are there any specific questions? I know that we've been flowing through. Andy, any questions come in that I need to address before I move on?
Not so much questions, and well, there's questions about some content. People said that they liked the PDU opportunities with Project Bites. They liked the virtual comment about they liked opportunities from other chapters.
Good.
There was a post about where is it? In the question you had earlier, there was a statement about there were two groups of companies, those with PMOs and those without, and that they think that we need to address the two different company types differently as far as our approach to those organizations.
I like that. That's really good feedback. I think that's really good, because they are very, very different.
Yeah, and then others wanting to share their learning via LinkedIn tags, and so any information we can help with marketing and so on also came through. And then questions and comments about the job board, and some of the job board positions were already filled and hadn't been taken off the board. So
okay, good for us to know. All right, excellent. Thanks, Andy. Appreciate that quick little recap, and keep the ideas flowing in the chat. We will be, Joe's going to, at the end of the presentation, Joe will capture the chat, so we have those comments and ideas so we can refer back to them. Really appreciate all of the feedback and engagement there. All right, next slide then, Joe. All right, so our annual theme for 2022 is climbing the mountain, and that's symbolic, but in my mind, it's more than just symbolic, because you can look at the mountain of how we're going to get back to in person. You can look at that mountain and how we're going to get back to 1,600 members. You can look at that mountain in how are we going to, get engaged with this new PMI 4.0 strategy and learn how to use it. So many different ways for us to be able to do that. Let's go to the next slide. Well, one of the things I want to reference there is, climbing a mountain seems impossible. And if you can look at the face of this mountain, this is actually a picture I took last year in the Grand Canyon. And we were at the bottom of it, having already climbed down a good portion of it. And then we were on our way back and kind of looked at this and said, how are we going to ever get up there? Go ahead, Joe. But it's incremental steps that get you back up the mountain. And you can see the arrows there actually follow the path up the hill. So we're not going to climb this mountain all at once. We're going to climb this mountain piece by piece, switchback by switchback, asking questions, figuring it out, getting answers, and going on. And that's how we're going to approach 2022. And that's how we're going to build our chapter back to not only where it was, but in my mind, build our chapter back to better than where it was, because we've learned a lot of new things through the pandemic that we can leverage going forward as we seek to re-engage and reinvigorate. All right, and then I think this is my last slide. So focus areas, we've identified really 5 key focus areas. You can go ahead and bring those up, Joe. First one is, thanks. Supporting the PMI 4.0 strategy. We feel that PMI is investing a lot in that, and by us aligning to that is only going to help our chapter not only better align with the organization and other PMI chapters, but better be able to support our project professionals, as well as this new set of change makers that we're going to see. We want to rebuild the PMINEO brand. We want to be the recognized project management organization in Northeast Ohio, so everybody will come to us when they have project management needs. Third, we want to re-energize our volunteers. We have a great set of volunteers, and there's always room for more. But we've had, in some areas, we've had a handful of volunteers that have kind of worked above and beyond to keep the organization going over the last couple of years. And so we need to re-energize those individuals, but by bringing in additional volunteers to help support, to spread the load. So that is a key focus area for us this year. Fourth, proving our value. Again, it's if we're not able to demonstrate the value that we as an organization provide to our stakeholders, our sponsors, our members, our volunteers, they're not going to stick with us. And so that's a key area for us this year, is to make sure we make that value proposition very, very clear. And then lastly, we're going to emerge stronger through that by doing those things, and by pivoting, and I hate to use that word, I know it's so overused, by adjusting how we do what we do and how we do it to better align to the new way of working and the new way of engaging with people. And through that, we're going to emerge stronger. And that's the value that we as an organization can deliver. All right, so would love to hear which of those focus areas most resonates with you. And I think after that, we'll kind of wrap it up. So if there's any last minute questions for me, you can obviously put them in the chat right now. If you want to reach out to me, I can always be reached at president@pmineo.org, and would be happy to hear from you if you've got ideas, or if you've got questions. That would be great. If you're interested in getting involved, actually, I'm not going to go. They've got a volunteering slide at the end, so I'll let someone else attack that. But good. Good feedback. That's still moving. I was going to say it looked like it stabilized.
This is fun. It's a fun game.
It's almost, yeah. Guess the one that's going to win. It's close. It's really close, actually. Good. Any last minute votes? All right. So it looks like rebuilding our brand. Oh, prove our value might do it. No, good. I appreciate the feedback on that. Very, very good for us to see that. So rebuild our brand, improve our value, followed closely by re-energizing our volunteers. All right, we probably have another 5 minutes or so to wrap things up. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, sticking with us. And Joe, I'm not sure if you're taking it back or if someone else, or if Dominic is.
I'm going to give it to Dominic for rewards, and then I'm going to take it home.
All right. So go ahead and hit the next slide here, Joe. Great. So I do want to give you a heads up. We're accepting nominations for our annual awards. And I want you to think in terms of Christmas past, present, and future when we think of our awards. So the project of the year is the present, right? It's a project that used good project management methodology that concluded in 2021. This is not the world's biggest project. That's not what we're after. We're not all building the channel. But if you had a project that was successfully done with or used project management methodology, we want to hear from you And that's the kind of thing we want to recognize. So please don't think your project has to be huge. It just has to have used project management methodology. All of these applications are available on our website. The Kersner Award for Project Excellence, that's Christmas past, right? Who inspired you to be a better project manager? You know, someone who got you interested in, introduced you to the chapter, introduced you to PMI. Maybe it's outside of your day-to-day job. It's excellence to the profession. So maybe it was somebody at your service organization or your church who made project management better in your mind. And then the young professional, that's our ghost of Christmas future, right? So do you know someone that has the potential to be a good project manager, that has demonstrated some early skills and aptitude towards project management? They're emerging, that they're early in their career. So those are the 3 awards that we do every year. So past, present, and future, we want to hear from you. Thanks, Joe.
Applications are due by March 31st. Here's the sponsor slide, Dominic.
Oh, well, I already did my spiel for the sponsors, but hold it there for 1 second, Joe, because awesome, thank you.
All right, so we have another mini question. What social media do you use regularly? And there's not a none vote here, so not voting means nothing. Let me flip over.
And what we're trying to get at is where do you live? Like I am attached to all of our stuff, but I really, Twitter is my only thing that I really follow regularly. So what do you use regularly?
All right, that's pretty
Okay,
much, that's good
thank
info.
you.
Yeah.
All right, so in closure, we've got some really cool events coming up. Tomorrow, Project Bites Live. There's a webinar tomorrow at noon, so if you want to get on that, you got to register soon. Next Thursday at noon, Tech Thursday webinar, I'll be presenting Microsoft Whiteboard and Mural. On March 3rd, the Goodyear Project of the Year. It's accepting registrations. We will be adding some details to that shortly, but that'll be a great presentation on Project of the Year. We have a Women in Project Management discussion group. Colleen does a great job. We schedule these every other month. We've got another good one coming up. Virtual Job Fair, March 31st at 4. And and we have April things. We just don't have them on the calendar yet. But in May, we're going to have our Professional Development Day at Baldwin Wallace and Berea. So save the date, and we'll have details out there as soon as we get all our speakers and pricing and all that kind of stuff ready to go there. So, and we've got some really good stuff that's in the hopper for April. We just need to get it finalized and get it up on the website.
Oh, hey, I also did want to say, we're looking at in June or July, having a kind of, again, welcome back to PMI event. We're looking at the metro parks, and we're looking at adding a component of service in the morning for the metro parks, and then sort of a cookout in the afternoon. So we're still working out the details of that, but look, keep an eye on the website for that, because that's going to be coming. Thank you, Joe.
Well, thank you, Colleen. That's a
Dominic,
good
do you want to
reminder.
quickly address the question in the chat about partnering with a school?
Sure. Jay has a team that actually goes into schools and give presentations, and there's a lot of college, but they do some high school. So we do go in and give them sort of what's it like to be a project manager and have them think about that as a career choice.
Awesome.
Thank you. And PDD is an all-day event, by the way. I think that was Meredith's question.
It's afternoon, yeah, afternoon and evening. So
Okay, thank you. So our top volunteer opportunities, we need greeters and program team members to keep the programs going And we'll be soon doing in-person events, so we need people to greet folks at the door, and do things like what Andy's doing on the virtual meetings here, greeting people as they come in. We need membership team members. We need volunteers for the operations team, as mentioned earlier, and we need some industry liaisons. So if you are interested in volunteering for one or more of these things, visit vrms.pmi.org. And
filter it for PMINEO, and you can see it. Hey, did we mention you get volunteer PDUs? You get volunteer PDUs for volunteering.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so one last question. How do we do tonight?
I appreciate the candid feedback, although I hope the 4 and 5s are being smart Alex. But if there are specific things that you feel we could do better in this meeting, again, email me at president@pmineo.org. I would love to hear if there's things that that we can do differently or do better. So. Good.
All right. All right, so for those of you that have a PMI credential, you can claim your own PDUs. All you really need is that quick claim code there. Those are zeros in that number. I'll leave it up here a second. You can jot it down. I will be sending a thank you email this weekend with a copy of the slides. We are recording this, so we'll upload the video recording up to YouTube. So if anybody wants to watch it later, share it, they can have it. But you'll claim your own, so it'll be one PDU strategic. Okay. All right, well, thanks everyone for your attendance tonight and your participation. Really appreciate your feedback and contributing to Menti and all your ideas. And we welcome you if you are interested in volunteering or getting involved more, or at a minimum, we'd love to see you at future meetings.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks so much. Appreciate the great engagement tonight. Have a wonderful evening, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
You too.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
You too.
you.
Take
Good
care.
evening.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Bye, good night.
Night, everyone.
Thanks, Joe, for keeping us together.
You're welcome. Let me stop the recording.